Okay, for this portion of the tutorial, we're going to start breaking this character down into layers. But before we have to do that, or before we can do that, we have to convert this image into a symbol. And what a symbol is Flash's way of minimizing the amount of memory it takes to recognize a shape or an object or something that moves. Also, what it also allows you to do is embed shapes within shapes. For example, we're going to turn this into a vectorized character, but we're going to move it like a puppet. So that arm is going to have to be on its own layer as well as the legs, so that you can move them independently of the body. By converting this thing into a symbol, we will be able to do that. So let me show you how. First, we have to have it selected. You can tell that it's selected because it has a blue border around it. If it's not selected, it looks like this. So what you need to do is, with your selection tool, hotkey V, notice the parentheses, the letters in the parentheses, hotkey V, and click on this JPEG. Okay, so blue border, it's selected. Now we have to convert this image into a symbol. So I'm going to go to Modify in the toolbar and go down to Convert Symbol. Any one of these options too, if there is a hotkey available to them, you'll see that to the right of these. So F8. So from now on, I'm going to try to use hotkeys if I've already explained where to find them before, but just keep in mind, this is where you'll learn about the hotkeys. They're normally displayed next to the option. So convert to symbol, and you'll get this menu, and this is where you can name the symbol. And I'm going to name this symbol body, BD for body. And this body is where it's going to contain symbols for the head, the arm, the legs, whatever. Also want to make sure under type is movie clip, and there's some options here, but we want to make sure that what we create here is a movie clip. And the reason why a movie clip is because it can hold more information, and actually there's a lot more properties that you can adjust as a movie clip. But for now, just make sure it says movie clip. Click OK. And now we have in our library this BD, which is a symbol, which is a movie clip symbol. Underneath it is the JPEG of Sally Rex. Now to start, we really want to keep this thing clean, and it's going to get pretty busy with all the body parts that we end up making. So we want to make sure that this is nice and clean. So I'm going to go over here and create a new folder, and I'm going to name this CH for character. Okay, so all my character symbols and images are going to go into this folder. So let's do that. Let's put them in there. And so here we go. So this is about as clean as we can get for where we're at. Next step, I want to double click this symbol here. So now I'm working inside of this image. I'm working within this symbol. One way to tell immediately that you're doing that is to look up at the top left hand corner of your screen, and you can see that we are working from this chain, scene to background, or excuse me, scene to body of the character. So if I go back and click this scene in the chain, it looks exactly like it was. So again, double click this. Now we're working within the symbol. So you want it to look like this whole background to be white, and it to say BD up here. Okay, so first of all, we want to lock this layer. We don't want to mess with it. It's just going to be what we draw on top of. Okay, so I'm going to come down here into layers, and I'm going to lock it. And also I want to name it. So I'll double click this name, and I'm going to name it reference, REF for reference. So we know that this is just the reference layer. It just houses this drawing. Alright, so now we're going to make quite a few layers. So Let's give us some space to work with. Now from here we need to make a layer for each one of these objects that we intend to move. So it could be pretty simple and in the naming convention, but we need to have these layers. So we're going to need a layer for the head, which involves all this stuff. We're going to need a layer for the upper torso, and a layer for the lower torso, a layer for maybe even this bottom torso, and a layer for the tail. And it can be pretty vague right now. You might end up adding more layers or actually deleting layers if you don't need them, or combining layers, but for right now this is what we're going to do. Also, we're going to need a layer for the arms and legs and feet. So this is how I'm going to do it. So let's go ahead and start making some layers. To make a new layer in Flash, there's going to be a little icon in the timeline, and on your lower left hand side of it, if I hover over it, it says new layer. So okay, let's make one for the head. Again, upper torso, mid torso, lower torso, tail, left leg foot, right leg foot, left arm, right arm. Alright, even though we don't see the right leg or the right foot, actually what we're going to do is we're going to create one and duplicate it and move it over. That's how we're going to do both, so save some time. So now let's go through and name these. So let's go ahead and name this one HD for the head. Oops. HD for the head. And this one's going to be up torso. And lower torso. And I'm not going to spell out all of these. It's just to save time and space. I like to be pretty concise and compact when I work in Flash. Okay, so we'll call this one, actually we need the mid torso as well, and we can actually change its location in this stack here, so it actually rests on top of the lower torso. Okay, from here we're going to need right arm, and left arm. Now, when I refer to these, I also refer to them as their atomical positioning on this character. Like, this is obviously the right arm, and that would be the left arm. And I'm not talking about how they appear on the drawing, but as they would atomically. And this will keep us from getting confused in their placement. Okay, let's do this again. Okay, so right leg, right leg, foot, left leg, left leg, foot. Now you can name these however you like. This is just how I prefer to work, so whatever works best for you. And the tail. Okay, so the way that these layers work, they work a lot like a stack of playing cards. Whatever's on top is physically on top of all the rest. So in this layer, if the head is on top of all of this, that means if I was to move this head layer over any of this, it would be on top. So when you think of these layers, think of Photoshop, think of Illustrator, think of a deck of playing cards. What's on top in here is literally on top of everything else. Okay, so let's move this around. We know that we'll probably need the right arm on top of at least the mid torso, and let's say the upper torso. So here's our mid torso and our upper torso, so we want our right arm above it, otherwise we wouldn't see it. So there we go. That's the same with the right leg, and let's just keep these together because we're going to be selecting the right leg and the right foot together a lot, so let's keep those together and move those up at least above the mid torso. And so these look pretty good. The left arm, left leg, foot, tail are all behind this lower torso. So that looks like it's going to work out. If it doesn't, while we start lining them up, we can always move around. And let's go ahead and lock them. The next thing I want to do is I want to take this menagerie of multicolors and make them a little bit more uniform. There is an extension that allows you to select multiple of these layers and change their colors right here, but getting extensions installed on all of your computers in the lab is kind of a pain, so we're going to have to do this the slow and tedious way. So what I want to do is pick a color that represents all the right side parts. So I'm going to right click this layer, go to properties, and in properties change the outline color. So let's make all the right hand colors a certain color, and let's make it something that we can see. How about this orange right there? Now I'll hit OK. So this is orange. So the same with this right leg. Go to properties, change the color, and change it to orange. Right leg, foot, properties. Here's your color. Changing it to orange. Okay. Now the left. So here's the left arm. Right click. Properties. You know, it's already a blue. Let's keep it blue. And let's make all of the left hand side the same blue. And okay. Alright. And now let's work on the body. So the torso, let's change it to a nice body color. How about this? Might be too close to orange. There we go, that's a nice body color. So we will make all the body colors the same. Tail as well. Okay, and the head. Let's make the head a different color. Make it purple. And the reference color is green. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's call that an end for this chapter, and in the next one we'll actually start laying down some digital lines.